Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Anxiety and Depression Adventures. This episode, I'm going to talk about anger. And it's come up only in the last 24 hours that I thought this topic would be worth discussing on this channel as it relates to depression and anxiety, and more specifically, getting better. So here's what happened. I went for my bi-weekly therapy session with my psychologist yesterday, and he sort of went back through his notes and did, I guess, what you might call a review as to where I am at this point. And his theory is that I am angry at myself. The way in which he views my explanations when he asks questions, or just when I'm explaining something or whatever, one way or another, I seem to weave in there blaming myself. So I hadn't really thought about it that way, and we talked it through, and while I might call it frustration at times, at life in general, but he said that's a form of anger. Because I may very well be very frustrated / angry at myself, and have been for most of my life, and blame myself for most, if not everything, that's gone wrong as I perceive it to, then that translates into a sense that I'm not worthy of getting better. And he picked up the point. And I admit this because, I've been doing this YouTube thing, and I'm, trying to explore other hobbies and look for a job and that sort of thing. And I'll fully admit, many, many sessions, he'll give me reading material or a CD to listen to or whatever, and it just sits and gathers dust when I get home. Now, that's not to say I haven't done any work, but I do work on my breathing with the HeartMath breathing. I do definitely try to recognize negative thoughts going on in my mind. However, I do have to admit, while I've been passing on to you folks many of the tips and tricks of alleviating depression and anxiety from my many years of therapy and medical support, that doesn't necessarily mean I've applied them to myself with the same effort that I probably should have. And maybe if I had, I might not still be feeling the way that I do today. And perhaps the reason for that is because I don't think I'm worthy of being happy, however you define that word. I'm not worth the time to put in to read the material, to really take a hard look at myself, to spend the time to just, sit with those feelings of insecurity and anxiety, and just breathe and get into that place of coherence, where yes, your brain is functioning, but no, it's not being absorbed by your emotion. And therefore you're able to think more clearly, not to analyze yourself, but kind of, in a way, be able to notice, okay, I'm having a lot of negative thoughts. They seem to be aimed towards myself. Isn't that interesting? And just breathe and just let it be, and it will fade. Because as my therapist says, no emotion lasts forever. Things come and go. So maybe I'm feeding it all the time by avoiding it. Even though I keep talking about avoidance is not a good strategy with this thing. But after meeting with him yesterday and thinking about it, yeah, I still do a lot of avoiding type activities. So who knows? Maybe that's something that, I was going to say maybe that's something I need to work on. I don't think there's much of a maybe there. I do need to work on that. It's something, though, that perhaps in your situation, you may not have thought of before. Because when you think of it, if you don't value yourself, you don't see yourself as worthy of happiness, if you deep down inside don't feel you've earned it, that you somehow are lacking, that if there's only so much happiness to go around, other people deserve it more than you do, then why would you, in earnest, make an effort to get better from the mental illness that you've been diagnosed with? Are you investing in yourself? Are you giving yourself the time and the credit that you deserve? Are you not just dusting yourself off once in a while, but really investing in growing as a human being and doing the things that some people in theory feel has worked substantially for many, many patients? But it takes commitment, it takes resilience, and I do believe it takes a high level of self-esteem to feel that you are worth it, to put that energy in. So that's pretty much the point of what I wanted to put on here. I will end with, I'm not going to say it's a quote, but it's something funny that my psychologist said. He said, the way it's supposed to work is the therapist shouldn't be doing more of the work than the patient, or something along those lines. And I think it was his funny way of sort of suggesting to me, is kind of like, okay, you come here for an hour and a half every couple of weeks or so, and we have a really good chat, and I suggest some things, and then you come back, and nothing's really changed, and you haven't done much, and I'm suggesting all this stuff, but not too much seems to be happening. At least that's how I interpreted it. So give it some thought. I hope it's helpful. It's a bright sunny day outside. It's only minus 18 degrees Celsius. So we'll call that warm for Canada at this time of year. So there's a lot of good things going on. And that's the part that I'm going to focus on today. So you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like this video or dislike this video if you wish. And please subscribe, because I'm going to keep these ones going, because I hope in some way these are helpful to you. Okay? So take care.